In the words of Rachel from Friends, it ain't over till someone says, I do. Good morning, good evening, or good night, wherever in the world you are, whatever time of day you're watching this. Hope you're having a fantastic day, and welcome to, I don't know what you want to call this, just a little motivational video, I guess. I feel like everyone needs it. I've been on Twitter and the timelines are looking very depressing and people are like, tired. I think everyone's tired. I think that's probably the right word. Tired, downbeat, and it just needs a little reality check. And that's what this video is going to be. So if you are tired, if you are feeling a little dejected, just go and hit that like button. It will make you feel better. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. And of course, become a member to get all the member perks, which include all the goals, include backstage passes to Grumpy Old Reds, and just loads of other things. And one final quick reminder, there's very few tickets left on this framed Morgan Gibbs White signed shirt. So if you want it, go and click on the link in the description. It's pinned in the comments as well. I think like 100 sold yesterday and they're down to like 49 or 52 or something like that. So go grab it quickly. And remember, if you hit ticket number 100, it's randomly generated, you will win automatically a Woney signed shirt, the home kit. I'm just going to start rambling, so let's get into it a little bit. Couple of things I just want to bring into perspective is firstly, Newcastle are a fantastic team. I know a lot of you think it's weird I cuss down most teams, but for some reason I'm quite soft towards Newcastle. And it is because I like the way they've done their business. I like the way that the Saudis came in and overtook them. I don't buy into any of this rhetoric about the human rights and all that crap. I like that Newcastle are coming in and they're trying to disrupt this so-called Big Four, Big Six, whatever you want to look at it. So I got a lot of time and respect for them. And you also have to remember, Newcastle is a club that has gone through similar things to Forest, being in the Championship, going through the pain of all that as well, when everyone's telling them they're too good for that division, etc., etc. So I do have a lot of time and respect for them. What I am saying here, though, is that Newcastle are a good team. They are a fantastic team and may end up in the top four. Look, if they beat Manchester United after the break, that puts them ahead of Manchester United on goal difference. And everyone's been singing Seven Hags praises this season, but everyone forgets how good Eddie Howe is. Eddie Howe has taken them from bottom of the Premier League up to where they are now. So there's a lot of credit that needs to be due there to Newcastle. And the fact that yesterday we went toe-to-toe with them. Now, I know the football wasn't pretty. I know that we didn't play scintillating prime Barca-style football or anything like that. But we still stood up and were counted. It may have felt low block to you, but when I do the in-depth analysis for you guys on Monday, I think it is, you will see we weren't playing as deep as we were. There's still not a cohesion between Felipe and Niakate either. Just remember that. That's their first ever game playing together in a competitive match. But there are signs, huge signs, between the two of them. Look, it was heartbreaking to see Niakate handle that ball in the last second. And had he been a little disciplined, he shouldn't have done it. There's no two ways about it. He shouldn't have done it. If Worrell had done that, I'd be killing Worrell right now. So I can't really excuse Niakate, who I've banged the drum on for. But what I will say is there's no doubt on who's the better defender out of the two. It's plain to see. Even a rusty Niakate coming back with streaks ahead of Worrell. So look, that mistake happened. Let's see what he does in the next game. And, it is what it is. But there's other things that do need to happen in this team. Dennis is a mainstay for me. If you look, and when you see it on Monday when I show it to you, he creates width down the left-hand side, which gives us another dimension. And that's exactly what happened in the game yesterday. And it wasn't so one-dimensional going into Jono. And you have a good midfield there who, with Felipe and Niakate able to hold a higher line, that will push the midfield forward, which should create more attacking chances. The thing I will say about yesterday is, had we played like that against Everton, with that formation, with that setup, look, I know not all the personnel were fit and available. I guarantee you we would have beaten Everton very comfortably. People will always say to you, oh, these aren't the games that will define our season, these wins or losses against the top six, the big six, whatever they're called. I don't agree with that, because Liverpool are one of the so-called big six. And that game earlier in the season is definitely defining. Where would we be now without those 3 points? Man City are obviously the big six. Where would we be without that point the other week in the draw? So don't get caught up with this rhetoric of beat the teams around us, because we've been struggling to do that. We didn't beat Everton either time. We didn't beat Bournemouth either time. We didn't beat Fulham either time. I know they're a bit higher up in the table, but you get the point I'm making. So beating those teams in and around us isn't as simple as it sounds. You pick up points, and you try to pick up points in whatever game you go into. Now, what does need to change is Cooper's tactics. In terms of substitutions, they are becoming very, very similar to those tactics he was using in and around, that September time, early season time, where they were just all over the place. And it's happening again. Look, Yates had to come off because of the injury, but it was clear to see Freuler wasn't the right choice. Him and Shelvey can't play together. They don't have the legs to control a midfield, especially when you're doing it in a two. It was just, as soon as that happened, the game turned and we were overrun in that midfield. There's a lot of talk from people all over the place saying we have to play 3 in the middle because we get overrun with a 2. I don't get that rhetoric either, because we get overrun with a 3. I've seen it so many times this season. 3 in the middle, we're still getting overrun. I just don't understand it. What I will say is the shape of yesterday, the 4-2-3-1, actually looked the most balanced for Forest. It was surprising that he did do it against Newcastle. I'll grant you guys that. But if you do that against the Wolves, if you do that against the Southampton, if you do that against, a Palace, teams like that, we can get more than a point out of the game. Look, one game will change your perspective. One win will make you feel a lot better. Had we won yesterday, most of us would be saying, right, we can now limp our way across the line. We're on 29 points. We're nearly there. We need 6, 7 more points, 2 wins, couple of draws, whatever it will be, we will get there. The points will come, but there just has to be a desire to get those points. I feel in the first half, Forest played to win the match, and I feel in the second half, Forest played not to lose the match. And when you play not to lose the match, more times than not, you're going to end up losing the match. But I still have hope. I'm not angry about yesterday. I'm really not. I'm just disappointed. I'm disappointed that we switched off in the 45 plus, whatever it was, 2 minutes of injury time, and Niakate's mistake late on in the second half. Hindsight's wonderful, butterfly effect and all that. But, had there only been 1 minute of injury time, we would have gone in 1-0 up. Could things have been different? It's all ifs, buts, and maybe. But football is an absolute humbler, and you have to take the result at the end of the day. What I don't want to see anymore from the fan base and from Steve Cooper, what I personally don't want to see, I'm not saying you can't do it, is the complaining about referees. The ref was shocking, but the ref didn't decide the match. The ref did not decide that match. It's the players on the pitch that decide the match. And, we will look at it from our Forest goggles. Newcastle probably will look at it from their goggles thinking, why did VAR screw us over with that legitimate goal? I mean, I still don't understand what happened there. So whatever way you look at the ref, there's always going to be the bias approach to it from whatever set of goggles you have. But I don't want to hear Cooper going on about refs anymore. It's not really something you want a manager to do, especially when they start their statement by saying, I don't want to talk about the refs, and then you talk about the refs. Is that kind of thing I want to see stopped. Just focus on what you got to do. Focus on the players, focus on the tactics, etc. But it's not over, guys. At the end of the day, it may be worse. Like, I'm recording this at 1:30 Saturday afternoon. We could be in the bottom 3 come 5 o'clock on Sunday after all the games have been played. And then we're going to have to sit there for 2 weeks and mull it over. But the season isn't finished until 38 games have been played. So let's get the games played. But let's focus on what we can control, and that's not to get ourselves too down. We will do a stream tonight. We will try and cheer you guys up. Maybe we'll open it up like we did last week and get a few of your calls on. But I'll get that set up for some time this evening. Not sure exactly when. It'll be somewhere near the usual time. But just don't lose hope yet. If we lose hope, then we got nothing. You might as well call it the end of the season there. Anyway, I don't know if that's helped any of you feel any different or not. Don't get me wrong, I'm hurting from the inside. But I don't think it's over because I expected us to lose to Newcastle. Let's be straight here. Most of us probably did. Now the focus turns to Wolves and what's going to happen there. I hope you've enjoyed it. A little bit of Wolverine therapy there for you. Please don't forget to like the video before you leave. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to Forest Fan TV. And we'll see you tonight on the live stream. I'm looking forward to it. And hopefully we'll come together as a community, as we always do, and even have a bit of fun. Come on, you Reds.